On this episode, we're going to talk about how, as a realtor, you can go viral on TikTok. Yes, there's a formula to it. Yes, it's possible to do, but you may not like the answer. You may not like the formula. And I'm not talking about dancing. I'm not talking about shaking your ass. Today we have on the show Hannah Kugel, who's absolutely crushing TikTok and social media in general. One of the most hilarious realtors I've ever seen. One of the most creative and hilarious agents I've ever seen on social, sharing her blueprint and how she's built a huge audience and gets all of her business from social media in a fairly short period of time. What is up, guys? Welcome to episode 297. Goddamn. 297 of the Massive Agent Podcast. I know it surprises me every week when I read the episode number, but I can't believe we're done almost 300. This week's episode is fucking awesome. I had so much fun talking with our guest today. She is hilarious. I've been watching her stuff on TikTok and Instagram for a couple years. You may know her as Peggy. You may know her as the dad that comes to the inspection from the dad and kiddo skits. She is so creative. She's hilarious. You may actually know her from the Netflix show that her and her husband were on. I believe the show is called like How to Build a Sex Room or something like that. Amazing. Super interesting story. You're going to love this. Such an interesting, jam-packed episode. I learned a lot from it. A lot of stuff that I thought was the case was validated. Some stuff that I didn't know, I was like, holy shit, she opened my eyes to a few things. She has the blueprint. She has it figured out, and she's going to share with you how to go viral and how to build a business on social media. Please pay attention, though, because you may not like the answer. However, it is the answer. It is the answer. The only question is whether or not you're going to accept it and then do it, because you don't have to do things like her. Here's what's cool. You don't have to do skits. You don't have to be funny. I don't do skits. I can't do that shit. I can be sarcastic. I do that on social media all the time because that's who I am. But you don't see me doing skits because I'm not trying to follow someone else's playbook. Hannah's going to share with you her playbook and then how you can make it yours to absolutely start to thrive on social media. Even if you've never gotten any business from social before, Hannah's story will be absolutely encouraging. If you don't follow her, if you don't even know who I'm talking about, her Peggy videos are hilarious. I think she said her biggest video was like 2 or 3 million views on TikTok, but she's grown an audience of 120,000 on TikTok, and she's selling 100% of her homes come from social media somehow, some way. She explains what that means. Super excited to bring Hannah on here in just a second. But before I do, so I'm going to be speaking over the next month and a half or so, a few times. So September 14th, I'm going to be in Virginia Beach. I'm doing an event with Tiffany Galzenis there in Virginia Beach. That's the 14th, September 14th. Then on September 20th, I'm going to be in Naples, Florida for BAM Camp. I know a lot of you guys are already going to BAM Camp. Make sure that you go to nowbam.com and get your ticket to BAM Camp. The speaker lineup is absolutely ridiculous. The Broke Agent, Matt Leonetti, Taya DiCarlo, Shannon Gillette, Dan O'Neill, got Chris Benjamin, Jesus. I can't list all these people, but they're all awesome, and I'm excited to hear from them. Nowbam.com or just Google BAM Camp 2023. But I'm going to be in Naples speaking at that on September 20th. Yeah. And then I'm going to be speaking. I'm doing my own breakout session, my own talk at EXPCon in Vegas on October 5th. I think that's a Thursday, but October 5th is the date. So if you're going to be in any of those places on those dates, make sure you come see me. Would love to have you and meet you. I love getting out and speaking at different events. It's like one of my favorite things to do ever. Speaking of BAM, you need to try out BAMX. If you don't know what I'm talking about, BAMX is a community of real estate agents that is helping each other, that is sharing the blueprint, sharing the playbook, collaborating with each other, sharing what works, and networking on steroids. BAMX is, if only BAMX existed when I got into real estate 12 years ago, I wouldn't have struggled for so many freaking years because I would have been around people who were showing me literally step by step, do this, do that. And I would have sped up the results like 10x, 100x, I don't know. Every agent that I've talked to who has joined BAMX says they'd pay much more for it and they wish they would have done it sooner. I've never, ever had negative feedback or even lackluster feedback about BAMX. And for as little as $10 a month, you could be part of this community. Make sure that you use code MASSIVE to make it even less expensive. Use code MASSIVE at checkout, massiveagentpodcast.com/BAMX. The code MASSIVE will get you a discount off a year's membership to BAMX. And also you need to try out KCM, Keeping Current Matters. It's with all of the shit happening in the economy, with interest rates, with all this stuff. Like, it's hard enough to do your marketing, hard enough to stay on top of content, to manage your clients. It's hard enough to stay on top of your email inbox, for God's sakes. What, you think that you're going to have time to study the markets and study interest rate projections and what the Federal Reserve is expected to do and what that means for housing and all that? No, of course not. But guess what? You can just have Keeping Current Matters do that for you. These are extremely intelligent people. All they do, they're economists, oh, by the way, actual experts on this shit, not just someone with a real estate license. But they dive into all the data, they study what's happening, but most importantly, they don't just tell you what's happening. They say, here's what it's going to mean if you have a buyer. Here's what this data means if you're working with sellers. And here's how to communicate this super important topic to those clients. It is a tool that you need in your tool belt. Try kcm.com/BAM. We'll get you a discount. I highly recommend it. Pretty much every big top producer that I speak to uses Keeping Current Matters. Again, I wish I knew about this. I don't think it was around 12 years ago. Either way, I wish I would have had something like Keeping Current Matters when I started out in real estate, because I wouldn't have had to spend time worrying about it. I could just digest what they send me. Try kcm.com/BAM. What a cheat code. Absolutely incredible. Speaking of cheat codes, we have Hannah Kugel on the show today. She is Peggy. She is Dad. She is your dad and kiddo from her skits. She has done such an incredible job with her social media. She's clever, she's funny, and very intentional. I just watched her videos, and until talking with her today, all I saw was what you see, was just her videos. But the intention behind it and the thought process behind it really surprised me. It also surprised me how much less time she spends on it than I thought, because she's still an agent. She's still servicing clients. She's writing offers, showing houses, going to closings, all the stuff. But she's just been, well, I'm not going to steal the magic bullet. She has the blueprint figured out to social media success. If you want to go viral, which, by the way, I don't think I've ever done. I've never had a video go over 1 million yet. That's interesting. Well, whatever. Who knows? Maybe a clip from this show will, because Hannah's on it. But she has it figured out. If you want to go viral, but more importantly than going viral, how to build a massive business from your social media. And she's going to share that process and that blueprint with us right now. Let's get Hannah Kugel on the show right now. What's up, guys? I'm here with Hannah Kugel, TikTok famous, one of my favorite agents to follow on social media. I've never seen anyone do what you're doing there's lots of agents that do skits, but you've created full-on characters. Like, there's Peggy, there's your dad. I think the first video I ever saw from you, Hannah, was you had like a pillow stuffed in your shirt, so you had the beer belly, and yep. I think it was like Dad at the inspection or something like that.
Yep.
Was that before Peggy?
Yeah, Dad came before Peggy. Dad, I started doing Dad probably about 2 years ago, actually. And the reason for it was I felt like I had seen a lot of other agents do, agents make videos joking about like bringing Dad to the home inspection, Dad showing up. And I was like, the joke itself felt like overplayed to me. It seemed like everybody was doing the same thing. Yeah. And I was like, what if I became Dad? Like, what if I was Dad? So I did the Dad comes to the home inspection, and it was a hit. People loved it. People thought it was hilarious. And beyond like just agent to agent, because I think a lot of the times the dad jokes like only really land with other agents. Yeah. But people beyond that were like, this is great. So I kind of was like, what else can I do with this? I played with him for a little while. And once I realized that people kind of liked the character skits, I one day was just like, I'm going to be, I think I was inspired by seeing somebody at like an open house or something. And I was like, I'm going to play the agent that has been in the business since like before any of us were born and has not updated the way that they handle business like at all. And I'm going to play that character. And that's when I did Peggy. And Peggy's first video was a hit. I mean, I think Peggy's first video had almost 2 million views. And
Wow.
I had no idea. Like I thought I would just maybe have her as a one off, and I never expected that she would turn into like an actual character. But when she did so well, I was like, I have to run with this. And she just has a life of her own for sure.
Definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's such a clever way of doing social media videos. You create characters, and then like you've created a series within your social accounts. It's super cool. But before I forgot to properly welcome you. Welcome to the Massive Agent Podcast.
Thank you.
I'm so excited you're here because like I said, you're one of my favorite agents to watch on social because you're just doing something so unique. You obviously have a great sense of humor. The stuff that
Thanks.
you do on social, when you first started doing these skits, was it natural for you? Was it scary? Were you worried about, people not taking you seriously and then losing business? Like, go back to the beginning. What was going through your head?
Yeah, well, thank you for having me
Of
also.
course.
And yeah, I would say I definitely went through that at first, you know. I definitely went through that fear of, oh, well, maybe people won't take me seriously. They'll think I'm unprofessional, you know. And then I really started to realize that those people wouldn't be my clients anyway. As I started getting feedback from people who I have a lot of people like in my actual sphere who follow me on social media. And when I started getting feedback from those people, like, oh, I saw your video and it was so funny, I loved it. I'm like, I'm staying in front of these people and entertaining them, you know? And so all these people, they know who I am, right? And I'm right in front of them all the time. And as soon as I started kind of getting that feedback from people, I was like, okay, these people aren't, it's not like ruining my reputation with my people. And I thought, and if somebody thinks I'm unprofessional for doing, like, they're not going to be my client anyway. They're not going to want to work with me. Or if they do, it's just, it's not going to be, we're not going to vibe. So as I kind of continued doing the characters, I sort of embraced that I'm weeding out anybody who wouldn't want to work with me anyway and who wouldn't mesh with my personality. And I'm like, that's honestly fine for me.
That's gold right there. Like that's such a hack because I remember when I was starting out, I wanted to reach everyone. And when you're starting out, you definitely think scarcity, right? You're like, I need to reach
Yeah.
everyone in order to get business. And as you go on, you realize, holy shit, like it's actually a good thing that you're repelling some people,
Hmm.
but you're attracting all the right people. And
Yep.
when did you kind of settle into that?
Yeah, I mean, it took me a while. I mean, what the gurus say, like, what if your audience is everybody, then you're reaching nobody, like that kind of
Yes.
thing. And I kind of started to embrace that a little bit. It did take a little while, I would say. I mean, I started doing dad, like I said, probably 2 years ago. And I think probably it took about a year before I was like, okay, like when I started doing Peggy and I really started honing in on that content creation, and I've started to feel more comfortable about it and sort of started seeing myself as more of a content creator who's generating business through content creation, as opposed to a real estate agent who's making content for social media. So I sort of flipped my mentality a little bit and kind of see myself as a content creator first. And I don't mean that as in I'm not prioritizing real estate in my career, but this is my marketing. So if I top of my funnel content creation, right, then I can focus on that, and in turn it's generating business for me. So I sort of just kind of changed my mentality on how I was approaching it. I think that helped me a lot. Like, I'm a content creator, so what if I'm putting a wig on,
Yeah. I'm sure that helped you stay consistent too, right?
Oh
Rather
yeah.
than most agents are like, I'm a realtor and I have to do some content. I have to do some
Yeah.
marketing. I made that switch a while ago too. I thought of myself as a marketer who sells homes,
Right.
a content creator with a real estate license. And
Yep.
it just makes it so much easier because then you can stay consistent with for you, your income producing activity is content, right?
Exactly.
I
Yep.
can't imagine you're on the phones with a headset cold calling, right?
No,
No.
no. For me, I realized like very quickly that that wasn't something that I was going to do. I wasn't going to cold call. I wasn't going to door knock. And I'm like, if I know this is something that I don't want to do, then I'm not going to do it. Or if I'm going to do it, it's going to be like begrudging and I'm going to hate it. And then I'm not going to generate business because it's coming from this place of like, I hate my job type of thing. Right. But I'm like, I get up every day. I'm like, I get to make content. That's freaking amazing. Like, that's so cool, right? And I get to generate business from doing that. I think that for people who are like, oh, I'm a real estate agent, I have to make content. It's like, well, think about, I'm creating content and I'm getting business from it. Like, flip the mindset. And I think, for some people, it's like, well, if you're not doing that, what are you doing, right? Like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna get up and sit at my desk and like hope somebody calls me. It's probably not gonna happen.
It's definitely not going to happen.
Yeah.
There's so much gold there. I love it. You and I are definitely kindred spirits because I've had a similar experience in my career, in my journey, and I see it with other agents. Those who are successful approach content creation the way you do. And you obviously enjoy it. Your personality comes through. And you can tell when an agent is just doing content because they were told they have to. They're just
Yeah.
checking a box and there's it's just hollow. There's an energy, there's a certain like charisma that's just missing from their content, and
Yeah.
that's why it's not working. It's not that what they're talking about isn't great. Sometimes it
Yeah.
is, sometimes it isn't. But if you could have the best topic, the best hook, and everything, but if you're just like, not excited about sharing it, no one's gonna be excited to watch it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I can tell that you really enjoy doing your videos, and it comes through and it makes it enjoyable to watch. So
Yeah.
you said
Well,
that,
I appreciate that. Yeah. Thank
yeah,
you.
so you've been getting business from your content. Talk about that. How long did that take? And then, what does that look like? How do your clients come to you?
Yeah. Yeah. So all of my business comes from social media in one way or another. At this point, I even sometimes attribute like my sphere of influence leads to social media because if it weren't for social media, how would these people know what I was doing, right? How would they know and how would I stay at the front of it? I mean, everybody knows a dozen real estate agents, everybody's cousins, brothers, uncles, nephews, whatever is a real estate agent, right? But I'm staying in front of all these people that actually do know me still with my skits, with social media. And again, these are people that are coming up to me at the gym, at, wherever I am. Oh my gosh, I saw your video. I loved it. Right. Those people, I'm at the top of their mind. So if they have to buy a house, if they have to sell a house, like I promise you that person's thinking about me first. And so that's a lot of where my business comes from. Still, I mean, I'm from here, born and raised. Have a large sphere. But I also do get like agent to agent referrals from TikTok. I have a large agent following on TikTok. And I get just, random people who have followed me on social media reaching out, TikTok, Instagram, uh, just reaching out directly to me and chatting with me about real estate. I think the thing that people get discouraged about with social media is people could follow you for years before they become a client,
Right.
right? And they've already made up their mind. I'm going to use that person when I buy a house, but they don't buy a house until 2, 3 years after they started following you. So I try not to think about like, you know, oh, well, I haven't, you know what I mean? Like I try not to think about it like from that scarcity mindset. I try to think about like, I've got all these people watching my videos. I might have 15 people sitting here waiting to pull the trigger with me in a year, 2 years, whatever.
Yes.
So, I try not to, try to think about like that abundant, like, look at all these people you're reaching. So yeah, people just kind of reach out to me directly through TikTok, Instagram, whatever channel they found me on, and we just go from there.
It's obvious that you're a seasoned content creator, and I mean, you've done so many videos
Yeah.
for like you said, for years. And I'm sure in the beginning you didn't think this way, right? You had to kind of
No.
realize, oh, wow, this person started following me 3 years ago and they're just now reaching out. That's interesting. But at the same time, had you stopped, they probably would have forgotten about you. Even if 3 years ago they
Absolutely.
decided, Hannah, next time I need to sell my place, she's the one. If you would have stopped or just like disappeared or started doing
Yep.
something different, they would have forgotten.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing, like, I think that's the thing that nobody wants to hear, right? Like, that's the secret is consistency.
Hmm.
And, but nobody wants to hear that secret, right? It's
It's
like,
not
well, you got
sexy.
to make, yeah, no, there's nothing glamorous about consistency. But that is the secret to content creation and to growing your audience and to reaching I mean, it is with anything, but especially when you're playing an algorithm and I mean, things are changing and everybody else is putting out content, and you know all these other people are doing what you're doing. If you're the one who keeps doing it every single day, like, you're gonna see that pay off eventually.
Oh, 1,000%. It's Did you have mentors that kind of helped you learn this, or did you kind of figure it out on your own? Or
I never had, like, I've never had an official mentor, like, for content creation. But I've kind of sought out following the right people. So I've just always kind of surrounded myself with the people who were doing what I was doing better, always people who are doing better than what you're doing, right? So you can look and go, okay, here's what this person's doing. And especially if those people are, you can reach out to them and create those relationships with somebody that you can bounce an idea off of, who's kind of doing the same thing as you or doing more than you. So I've never had an official mentor, but I follow a lot of people and have made a lot of connections with people who are huge in content creation, and just, kind of that accountability of somebody else that you can say, oh man, this isn't really doing well. What do you think? And somebody who's going to go, well, they kind of suck, and you're like, okay,
yeah,
fair.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a hack right there. There's so many mentors that are putting out content that you can learn from if you just decide
Oh,
to learn from them. I
exactly.
So do you only follow real estate agents, or are you learning from
No,
creators in
no,
other industries?
no. I follow some real estate agents. I would say that's another thing that I usually tell people when they ask me about social media. I'm like, follow people in other industries. Like, follow people who are doing different niches, because if you're just following real estate agents, you're going to be in this, like, echo chamber of real estate. And you're going to see someone, like, dancing at their open house, and then the next video, it's like, you're going to see the same thing over and over again. Like, you might not even catch trends necessarily because you're just following all these real estate agents. No, I mean, especially with my content on TikTok, I follow a ton of other sketch comedy, like, creators, skit creators. I've always followed people in different industries to see what they're doing and what they're having success with. And I've tried to tailor that towards real estate. And I think, there's something to be said for that, because if somebody's killing it in another, in another niche, you can take some of their, ideas and tailor them towards what you're doing. And you're going to be doing different things than what everyone else is doing.
That's right. Yeah. You seem like someone that is just overwhelmed with ideas all the time. Do you have that entrepreneur's curse where you're just constantly getting ideas?
Yeah. I feel like, yeah, I do a little bit. I have to be constantly kind of writing things down. I mean, I'll be like laying in bed at night about to fall asleep. Oh my gosh, here's an idea for a video. And I've got my notes. My notes is just like, just chaos of my brain dumping ideas about content, and just all the time. Yeah, I mean, I do. But that's another thing, is it's all around you. Like, content is everywhere. It's so once you get in that mindset, I feel like, not that it's not hard. I'm not saying it's easy, but once you get in that frame of mind and you're looking for it everywhere around you, you're going to find it. And it
That's it.
makes the consistency easier at that point.
That's right. Yeah. when you're intentional, when you're scrolling TikTok and Instagram intentionally
Yep.
looking for inspiration, you find it because you can
Uh-huh.
learn something from everything you see. I
Yep.
watch golf. A lot of golf creators do dumb shit. I watch fitness people. I watch like cooking stuff, like just
Yeah.
random other meme accounts, and you'll see something. You're like, huh, that's a cool idea. I like the format of the video, or I like the camera angle. I like the
Yeah.
sound they used. I could use that for my audience, but it takes the intentionality.
Yeah, absolutely. And even ever since I started using TikTok, I mean, like 3 years ago, if
Is
I'm
that it?
scrolling TikTok, like I'm scrolling intentionally.
It's only
Maybe
been three
less
years.
so. Yeah, I've been on TikTok since 2020.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
crazy. Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy?
It really is. It feels like it hasn't been that long, and then I'll go back and look like, I'll get like a memory of a video. It's like, oh, you posted this 3 years ago, and I'm like, oh, I did. Like it feels like I haven't been dedicating that much of my life to TikTok, but here I am.
Well, okay, so let's talk about that because you probably hear this all the time. Hannah, I just don't have time to do what you do. Like you must spend all day doing videos. What do your days look like? Like how much time
Yeah.
do you devote to doing your content?
I mean, I devote a good amount of my time to content creation because again, that's my business, like that's my marketing. So I see it as, like you said, an income generating activity. So I'm not door knocking, I'm not cold calling, I'm not doing I might do some ads, stuff like that. But for the most part, like my number one is content creation. So for I mean, every day I probably spend a couple hours every morning creating some type of content. If I don't spend like a whole day batch filming content, just kind of depends on how my week shakes out. But for the most part, I'll either spend like a good like half a day just doing a bunch of batch film content that I have for, then a few days. Or I'll spend maybe like 1 to 2 hours doing a couple videos to carry me through a couple days. I think the thing about like that I don't have time, it's like, well, what else are you doing with your time? And if those activities that you're doing with your time are income generating activities, then maybe you don't need to worry about content creation. Like if you're out there door knocking 4 hours a day and you're freaking killing it, then like, okay, that works for you. Maybe you don't need to add content into that. For me, like it's the number one. So that's what gets all my time. And so, working on my business in the morning. And then if I have things to do, in it in the afternoon, that's kind of how I structure my day.
Yeah, well put. What does your team look like? Do you have editors? Do you have like transaction coordinators, assistants? Like,
Yes.
okay, talk about
Transaction,
your team.
yeah. Transaction coordinator was my very first hire. I
Smart.
mean, I think I hired a transaction coordinator probably a year in because I was like, why would I not pay someone to do this? And I mean, really, for us, for the transaction coordinator I have, like, it's so worth the money because if I could be out generating a half a lead, it's worth me paying her to do the paperwork.
Totally.
Um, and as far as editing, like for my short form content, I edit all my own content. Uh, I've gotten very proficient with it to the point where it's really easy for me to do quickly, and I don't have a lot of complicated, edits. For stuff a little bit more complicated, if I do like a long form YouTube, I hire out editing for that because it's just absolutely not worth my time.
Right.
As you probably know, you're like, I'm not going to spend 7 hours editing a YouTube video. Um, and then my husband actually helps me with a lot of content. My husband like is my video guy. He films.
I was gonna ask who's holding the camera.
Yep. My husband is the one who holds the camera. If he's not here, I have done a lot of video like on tripod. Like I just have my tripod. Um, but for the most part, he'll film. And so again, I have to be intentional with my time with him because if he's here and I need something where I'm moving around or changing angles, it's like, okay, we got to sit down and do 3, 4 hours of content because you're here and I need you right now. So I have to be intentional with my time when I have that, when I have him available.
That's smart. So
Yeah.
this character or the series that I see a lot from you lately is the dad that's just dumbfounded that an iPhone costs as much as it does, or you spent how much on a plane ticket, just the dad that's still stuck, 30 years ago with everything. I assumed that was your husband's voice in the background, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. My husband plays kiddo.
Yes, kiddo.
Yeah.
I love it. What do you say to the people? I'm going to come back to the husband thing with your Netflix show, which I thought was cool because I was watching your stuff prior to discovering that.
Yeah.
But what do you say to those agents that are like, Hannah, that video's not even about real estate. Like, why would I do a video about how much an iPhone costs? That's not going to get me business. What do you say to them?
It doesn't matter because it's relatable, right? So a lot, like you could put out real estate content every single day, and at some point people are going to be like, I don't fucking care anymore. Sorry.
Yes.
But I don't, and even for me, like as a fellow agent, like if I scroll, I mean, I'm scrolling past most, not all, but most of the realtors I follow. I'm scrolling past because like I don't care. And especially if you're going, hi, it's me with this and this real estate. I'm like, no, I'm done.
The intro. Oh.
Yeah. Like you got to skip it. You got to hook me. But the thing is, like, especially with the dad videos, I have created this avatar, right, of a millennial client who is feeling the struggle of how expensive everything is and inflation and struggling with home buying, saving money. That's something that a lot of people in that age group can relate to, right? So I think the thing is now those people understand and see that I'm not some out of touch real estate agent who's just like, you could buy a house. Oh my gosh, yeah. Why aren't you saving money? Here's how you save money. Like they understand that I can see and relate to the struggle that they're having. So wouldn't it be easier to reach out to me like, hey, what do I do? Like, because that I'm not going to be like, what? You can't save for a down payment? What do you mean? Like they already know that I know the struggle, right? Like that I can relate to that and that I have already vocalized to them like, hey, look, I see you, right? Now I'm easy to approach, even if my video has nothing to do with real estate.
I never thought of that. That's absolutely brilliant. You're right. It has nothing to do with real estate, but it's relatable, directly relatable to the audience that hires you, like to the demographic that hires you. That's unbelievable. That's really smart. Was that intentional in the beginning, or did you just kind of happen into it?
When I started Dad, it wasn't as intentional, but once I started doing the videos where Dad's kind of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that the houses cost this much, that your rent costs this much, it sort of became more intentionally targeting that audience.
Yeah.
Again, like they can, I mean, then it's not, I'm not scary. I'm not I'm not Peggy,
Right.
they're not going to see me as being out of touch with that avatar. And like you said, those are my clients. And I have people reach out to me from TikTok who will say, I'm not ready yet, but when I am ready, and they're not scared to contact me, to reach out to me.
Right. What were you doing before social media content? What were you doing for business? And like, how long have you been in real estate? And when did you transition?
Yeah. So I got my license. I've been licensed since 2019. So I started when I first started. So I guess I'll back it up to what I was doing before I was a real estate agent. Before I got into real estate, I was a 911 dispatcher for 6 years.
Oh, wow.
I started doing that when I was 18. Did that for 6 years. Oh my God. Yeah.
That's gnarly for an 18-year-old. Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah, it was for sure. A lot of stories though.
I bet.
Yeah. So I started doing that when I was 18. I did that for 6 years. I got married, had my son, and I was like, I cannot do this anymore. I can't work these. I mean, we were always short staffed. Like we're working 48 hours a week plus, 12-hour days. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I have to do something else. So I kind of had a family member who was like, maybe you should consider getting into real estate. He's a more of an investor. And I was like, I wasn't fully sold on it. I thought, well, you know what? I'll give it a shot. And at first, my first year, I actually like went part-time at my dispatch job, did real estate part-time, and I was on a team. So my first like year or so business kind of came from the team. And then I was like, I wanted to get out of my other job completely. And I did that in March of 2020. So the
Oh, wow.
worst time possible, right?
Yeah. Or the
And
best, because it depends.
or best. Yeah,
Yeah.
depending on how you look at it, right? I mean, I went just like right as COVID hit, I left my job. And I was like, well, I got to do something. So I got on TikTok. And that's when I started on TikTok, was in March of 2020, and started doing TikToks, Instagram, all my social media content. I was still on a team. So, you know, some of my business was coming from my team. And then the rest of my business was coming from social media.
How long did it take you after you started doing the content to start getting business from it?
Oh man, I'm like, now I got to think back.
Do you think it was quick?
No, it wasn't like immediate. You know, I think it took probably, before I started getting clients from social media, probably took me, 6 months to a year of like being consistent on the content creation side.
Yeah.
Which again, like, I think that's pretty, like, if you're just starting and you're not having any consistency, I would say people should expect that. You're not going to post one video and get a client for the most part. Sometimes
Nope.
people do, but
there's no magic video.
No, it's not like you're going to have to make a ton. I mean, I've got, I don't even know how many videos at this point on my channels, but yeah, it took a little while. And again, like I said, I think of those first couple were probably somewhat sphere also, but they were, following me on social media, and otherwise would have no idea what I was doing. Or again, like you said, if I had then dropped off, they wouldn't have kept me in their mind.
Yeah. Which platform is your favorite now?
I mean, TikTok is my favorite. I think TikTok is overall my favorite platform. I feel I can get a better reach on TikTok, and I just enjoy the platform better than the others, and I spend more time on it, which is something that I tell people too when they're asking me about content creation. I'm like, if you're not a consumer of content, you're not going to be a good creator of content.
No shot.
No. So it's like walking into a room and being like, telling a joke, and everybody's like, read the room, like this is a funeral, and you're like, oh shit, I didn't know, this isn't a venue that I'm used to. Like, you can't just go in and just be like, oh, I've got the, greatest thing ever. You don't know where you are.
Yeah, you can't move to a country, expect to be fluent without practicing the language.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
You got to learn the language. Yeah, and each platform has its own language. TikTok's very different from Instagram, and
totally.
Yeah. So TikTok's number one.
Yeah, I love TikTok. I do. I know, and I mean, I get leads from Instagram too. So like, I'm not dogging Instagram, but TikTok's my favorite.
Has it been? Well, obviously, I assume TikTok for you has been much easier to grow an audience than Instagram. Instagram's tough.
Instagram is really hard. I feel like my content just doesn't land as well on Instagram. It's just not, again, like you said, it's a different country. Like, I'm not hitting the audience on Instagram that I'm hitting on TikTok. And I also think that TikTok really has the For You page and their algorithm nailed down to, like, TikTok is going to find your audience. I don't know as much about Instagram to know, and I don't feel from my experience that Instagram's as good at doing that. Like TikTok, I mean, I posted a video the other day of this. I have a mom character, and I did like your mom on your birthday, and I had like hundreds of comments on that video. Oh my gosh, it's so crazy! This came up on my page on my birthday.
Okay.
It's like TikTok knows they're gonna find you. Like,
yeah, it's a very different algorithm. That's for damn sure.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And so I feel like now that I know I can play that, I can play it better too, because I kind of know how it works. I know what's going to hit. I know what's not probably going to hit. And I don't feel as fluent on Instagram that way.
So you and your husband were on a Netflix show.
Yeah.
You were part of a Netflix show, which was
Yes.
awesome. My
Yeah.
wife and I just discovered it one night, and I'm like, that's Hannah from
Yeah.
TikTok. What the fuck? It was so funny. I'll let you I'll let you describe the show yourself.
Yeah.
But did you get that part? Did you get placed on the show partly because of your social media videos?
I actually got casted for that show pretty early on in my social media journey. So
Okay.
I think that they found might have found me just as being somebody in the Denver area from social media, but I don't think that it had anything to do with necessarily like my personality at the time.
Okay.
Because we started the casting process for that show in like the early 2020. Actually, I think it was like about April.
Wow.
So I was still really fresh to that. But I do think that we had to go through a lot of casting. I mean, my husband's funny, so I'm going to give him most of the credit for why we got picked for the show anyway, because he's freaking hilarious. He was definitely the main character. But I do think that the personality, the entertainer kind of personality, did play a role in us actually getting casted, like actually getting a part on the show for sure. But yeah, it was. I'm like, for anybody who doesn't know, it was a home renovation show for adult rooms, and you can find it on Netflix.
That's a nice rated G description, Hannah.
I've
That's
had to do it.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good at that by now.
Right. I bet. uh, yeah, my wife and I watched every episode of that series.
Yeah, we
It's,
were
it's
we were
cool.
pretty tame. I was like all
Yeah.
worried, and then because we didn't know what any of the other episodes were going to be like, and then as we watched the whole series, I was like, okay, so we're pretty mild. Like we were pretty vanilla. I feel like.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like your description. A home renovation show for adult themed rooms. That's
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Love it. Did that show help you, like, what's happened since? Has that helped boost your social media? Did you get business from it? Like, are you recognized for that now? Like,
Yeah, I do get a little bit of that. I did get a little bit of a boost in my following on TikTok from the show, because I did a couple videos like about the show, kind of again in my like joking fashion, in just kind of a comedy way. And it did bring me a little bit of following, but at that point, I think, I had maybe like 10,000 followers, and I think it might have pushed me to like, I might have gotten, and it was at the same time I was doing Peggy. So I think like that and Peggy maybe pushed me to like 20, in that kind of range.
yeah.
So it was a good increase, but I wouldn't say it necessarily like skyrocketed my channel. But my characters and like consistency in doing my characters recently is where I've seen the most growth with my channel. I mean, I've like almost doubled my following in, I think, the last 3 months or so.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, because
Yeah.
you're at like what, 120,000
Yeah,
on
I think
TikTok,
about
something like that.
106, just shy of 120,000. Yeah. And I mean, it's cool to see the growth. Like, I think once you get a little bit larger your growth is way more exponential.
Hmm.
So that's something, for people to consider when they're growing a channel. It's like, once you get kind of going, you're going to see it continue to grow as long as you're consistent. If I were to stop, my channel could sit at what it is for forever.
And no one wants to hear that consistency shit, Hannah. That's
No,
they want to hear
I
about the
know.
magic video, the
I know.
magic
I'm like,
Facebook ad.
yeah, I'm like, sorry. Everybody's like, we don't want to listen to this podcast because all she said is post a video every freaking day. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, it's true. Like, agents don't want to hear that. I don't like that. I wish there was some magical post
No.
I could do, but
Yeah,
there's
but
not.
there's just not. It's just like, it's like, going to the gym, right? Like, I mean, nobody wants to go to the gym every single day, but I'm like, you're not going to lose 20 pounds if you go to the gym one day. But if you go to the gym every day for 3 months, you probably won't. Like, nobody wants to hear it.
That's
But
it.
that's the truth. Yeah.
So of all these videos you've done, and how many do you think you've done? Have you done over 1,000?
Gosh, I could actually look. I think on TikTok, I've got like 900 something videos.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then, I pretty much, yeah, I think I'm probably around 900 to 1,000 videos over, however many years,
And
3 years.
on TikTok, do you post once a day? Has it been multiple times a day?
I post once a day on TikTok right now, because I'm intentionally trying to grow my audience.
Yeah.
So
And you think once a day on TikTok's enough?
I think that it depends on what you're doing. Like for me, I post once a day on TikTok because there's no way I can come up with enough, like with the character skits and everything. I mean, I just don't think I could come up with 14 videos of content
Right.
a week
Right.
for that type of content. I think once a day on TikTok has been enough for me to grow my audience. I think the more you post, the better, really. Like, I mean, if you could post 2 videos a day, I think that would be great if you're trying to grow your audience and you're trying to reach, get that reach. But I think that if you can't do that, don't, like, one is good, or even 3 a week is good. Like, it's better than either doing nothing or not having any consistency at all. So I think that, if you're looking to start out and you can commit to 3 to 5 videos a week, like, that's great.
Yeah, that's so encouraging because you hear all these gurus like you got to post 3 times a day on TikTok or it's fucking worthless. Like
Yeah.
I think I literally heard those words. Like, don't even bother unless you're posting 3 times a day. Well,
No.
you're still a real estate agent. You're still servicing clients. You still
Yeah.
have closings and showings and writing offers and all the shit. And so you're right. The videos you do are much more time intensive and
Yeah. It's just the
energy.
creativity. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's hard if you're just starting out and the advice that you're getting, like you said, is, oh, don't even bother if you're not going to post 3 videos a day. That's so discouraging and it's so overwhelming for somebody.
Wrong.
And it's like, it would be the same thing as like somebody who wants to start working out, right? And being like, if you're not going to go to the gym 3 times a day, don't even fucking bother. Like,
right.
Okay, well, what if I could go to the gym 3 times a week? That's a great start. Why don't we start there?
Yeah.
Yes, post 3 videos a week. Maybe in a month from now, you can post 5 videos a week because you're going to feel more comfortable and you're going to have more content. And the content's going to find you in your comments and all these other ways that, you're going to be now in that frame of mind. Like, we don't need to be telling people just absolutely fuck off if you're not going to post 3 videos a day. Like, no.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
3 videos a week for a year, you will absolutely beat the shit out of someone that posts 3 videos a day for a month.
Yeah.
There's just magic in that consistency.
Absolutely.
No one likes to hear it, but like that's the ingredient.
Yeah, exactly. And if the alternative is you're not going to do it at all, then do 3 videos a week.
Yes. It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about so much today because when I think of you, I'm like, okay, your dad, your mom, your Peggy. You've got the sex room show on Netflix.
Yeah.
Like you just done so much cool shit. Have you naturally been like, are you an outgoing person? Are you normally like a social butterfly? Like, have you kind of had this personality your whole life?
Yeah, I would say for the most part, like I've always been the outgoing. I've always been the kind of the funny one, pretty much my whole life. And I feel like now, if anything, I'm kind of becoming like less so that way because I spend a lot of time like playing these characters and kind of, I feel like draining that social battery. And then I'm kind of like, okay, I want to stay in my house.
Yes.
But yeah, I've always kind of had that outgoingness.
What's cool is you do you. So what kind of advice would you have for an agent that's listening and they see what you do and they're kind of intimidated by it? They're like, I don't know if I can do all that. what would you tell an agent that's really not doing a whole lot on social, or if they are, it's just like posting listing flyers and,
Yeah.
bullshit Canva graphics. Like,
Yeah.
what advice do you have for an agent that's just starting?
Yeah. Well, I would say, first of all, comparison is the thief of joy. So don't get on social media and go, oh, well, I can't do what they're doing. You don't have to do what they're doing. You don't have to do what this person's doing. You don't have to do what this person's doing. Do what you want to do, because I think, again, finding that person that you want to serve as your client, finding that avatar, right, will help you realize who you need to be making videos for. If you're making videos for yourself, that's not going to work. If you're making videos for everybody, that's not going to work. But think about, who do you want your client to be, right? Like, is it the millennial who's intimidated by home buying and is worried about saving money, and or is it the first time seller, the move up client? Like, what is the person that you want to serve? What do they look like to you? And then kind of think about how you can tailor your videos to that person, but be yourself. Like, you can tell, right? When you scroll on a video, you have someone pop up and you can just hear the fake, the forcedness in the voice and how they're coming and showing up. It's like, don't do that. Just be yourself. Just be you. You don't have to put on an act. Just be yourself. Don't worry about whether or not people are going to, think that you sound weird or you look weird. I think that's a lot of the thing that holds people back. Oh, people are going to think I have to do my makeup this way, or I have to do this, I have to do that. The only person that's noticing that is you. Nobody else is noticing that.
Well said. Well said. What do you say to the people that think they need to do skits? They need to be funny because that's what works.
I say don't. Because, again, if you aren't, and that's especially like niche, right? If you don't have that and you try it, it's not going to go well. Like,
Oh, yeah.
if you do and it's something that comes naturally to you, then that's great. Do it, right? You'll know if you watch my video and be like, oh my God, I could never do that, because like that's not, then it's probably not for you. But if you're like, oh yeah, that's hilarious, like I could totally do a skit, do it, then that is for you. Um, you don't have to be funny. I follow plenty of creators that deliver great value and aren't funny at all. It's like,
Totally.
that's totally fine.
Yeah. I think I'm a fairly funny guy with a decent sense of humor, but I have no desire to do skits. Like, it's not
Yeah.
me. I feel weird and awkward, so I don't do it. I do sarcasm. I do memes and shit like
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
like, that's just my personality. But skits, and it's
Right.
not. So, but I also know how much energy that takes to put together skits like that, especially over and over and over every fucking day. So I
Oh, yeah.
absolutely respect what you've done, how long you've been doing it for. Does not surprise me that you get a bunch of business, that you get all your business one way or another from social. Doesn't surprise me. What's next for you?
Oh man, what is next for me? I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I'm just still trying to grow my channel. My background, so I was a dispatcher. When I was dispatching, I was going to college. I have a bachelor's degree in organizational leadership. I actually have a master's degree in industrial and organizational psychology. So my passion really lies in training people and that, like, organizational cohesiveness, and just overall, motivation in the workplace. So eventually, my big picture is that someday I would love to be helping other people, to figure out how to grow their business, to grow their socials. At some point, that's what I would like to be doing down the road. But
Nice.
we'll see. I always like don't want to be the person that the broke agent makes the memes about, like gets social media followers and then becomes a coach. Like, I don't want to do that. But
Yep. Yep. Your course will be out next week.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, and that's another thing. Like, I don't like, that's not my vibe either. So yeah. Eventually, someday I'll find a way to make it all come together. That's
Yeah.
my goal for the future.
What's super cool and look, I have a coaching program. Like, I take courses. I think courses are amazing. If you did one, it would be fucking incredible just because of what you've done. but people can learn from you without needing to. They don't need a course. Like you've done one. You've been doing a master class since March of 2020. And they just have to like intentionally dissect what you're doing, even if skits and humor is not their deal. Like they could still pick up, the themes. I thought it was brilliant, Hannah, how you mentioned that when you do the dad and kiddo skits, that you are just basically speaking the language and like you're hearing your ideal audience. You're hearing the concerns and the frustrations and the hardships that your clients are dealing with inflation and the cost, affordability or lack thereof of housing. And you're just doing that in a clever way. So those themes everyone can learn from, even if they're doing a completely different style of video.
Yeah, absolutely. And even just like the hooking an audience, like that's such a huge thing I think that people don't get, and it's so evident if you are looking for it in my videos. It's so evident that I'm hooking at the beginning of every video, whether it's dad right there in your face or mom throws the door open or however I'm hooking, like. And so just the format of a video and how you can, get it to perform well, like that's like anytime people reach out to me to ask me for help with their content, I am all about that. So that's another thing that, like, if people ever message me, what do you think about this? What should I do? Like, I eat that up. I love helping other people figure out how to improve their content.
That's super cool. So usually we do this at the end, but we'll do it multiple times. Where can people find you? If they're not already following you, what's the best place? What's your handle?
Yeah, so people can find me on TikTok as at hannah.grabo, which is my maiden name, Grabau. And then on Instagram, you can find me at Hannah_your_realtor. So
nice.
Those are my handles.
And we'll link to those.
Find me on, yeah.
We'll make sure that we put links.
You can find me on. Okay, exactly. Perfect. Yeah.
Hannah, what we like to do with guests is to wrap it up, some rapid fire questions. These are either or, like you pick one or the other. And then, we already did it, but we'll do it again. We'll let everyone know where they can find you. And again, guys, the links to follow Hannah are in the show notes. If you're listening to the podcast, if you're watching on YouTube, it's in the description. If you found value, if you learned something new from this, or you just want others to know about Hannah and her hilarious content, make sure you share this with another agent, with your broker, your team leader, other agents in a Facebook group, whatever it is, and help to get the word out. So are you ready for the rapid fires?
Yes.
All right. I feel like we haven't done this forever, but we haven't had a guest in a minute either. So it's good to be back with the rapid fires. Okay. Facebook or Instagram?
Instagram.
I already know the answers to some of these. Instagram or TikTok?
TikTok.
Yep. TikTok or YouTube?
TikTok. But I like YouTube also.
Do you put your stuff on YouTube Shorts?
I do. I actually have two separate YouTube channels. I have a YouTube channel for my skits and everything. And then I have a Northern Colorado Life YouTube channel for just real estate.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. You're doing it right. That's perfect. Books or podcasts?
Oh, man. That's such a tough one. Podcasts for business-wise podcasts.
How about books or podcasts or audiobooks?
I still go podcasts.
Podcasts are amazing. Like audiobooks, once it's published, it's published. And every day that goes by, the information just gets more outdated. Not that it's wrong, but podcast, it's always fresh. There's always something new. Yeah. I love podcasts. Rental property or flipping?
Rental property.
Very nice. Burgers or pizza?
Burgers.
New York or LA?
Oof. LA.
Yeah. Baseball or football?
Hockey.
Okay. Are you an Avalanche fan?
Yeah.
Yeah. My brother's a huge Avalanche fan. Mountains or beach?
Mountains.
Very nice. Not a surprise.
Yeah.
YouTube or Facebook Live?
YouTube.
So you're in northern Colorado, north of Denver. Boulder or Colorado Springs?
Boulder. That's where I was
Yeah.
born.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yep.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or Millionaire Real Estate Agent?
I don't think I've ever listened to Millionaire Real Estate Agent.
Yeah, the Gary Keller book?
Yeah, I haven't, but I've listened to Rich Dad Poor Dad audiobook. So by default, I guess I'll have to go with that one. But now
Okay.
I'm going to add Millionaire Real Estate Agent to my list.
The Red Book. Yeah, I have it right down here actually. It's good shit. Uber or Lyft?
Lyft.
Yeah. Gary V or Grant Cardone?
I love Gary Vee. I love Todd Collins also, but
Yeah, he's awesome. I learned about him on TikTok.
yeah, he's great. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Hannah, in case anyone missed it, where's the best place to follow you? What's your handle? Let us know.
Yeah. So TikTok is hannah.grabau. That's my maiden name, hannah.grabo. And Instagram, Hannah Your Realtor. So Hannah_your_realtor.
I'm so glad you pronounced your maiden name on your TikTok handle, so I didn't have to.
Yeah.
Because
No
I would
worries.
not have
I
pronounced it
got
that
you.
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hannah, this
Nobody
was
would.
awesome. So many nuggets dropped today. So much gold, so much wisdom. Really cool to see what you're doing. I'm excited to see, future characters you come out with and what you're going to be doing a year or two from now. Thank you so much for coming on the Massive Agent podcast and sharing all that with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. This was fun.
Anytime. We'll have to do it again. I enjoyed that so much. Hannah is such a cool woman doing such cool shit on social media. 6 years as a 911 operator, I think. And, she was like who you call on 911. I can't imagine doing that at 18 years old. My God, I can't imagine doing it now at 40 years old. The story she must have. Maybe that'll be a podcast for another time. But if you guys found value in this show, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Any other agents that are creating content and that are really diving into being a content creator, please share this episode with them. They need to hear this. I wish that I had this recording 12 years ago. This was the masterclass. Hannah is doing it right. She's built a giant business, a giant brand, and I'm really excited to see where she's at a year from now, 2 years from now, because I think it's going to be exponentially bigger than where she's at. So, Hannah, thanks for coming on the show. Thank you guys for listening. And like I said, if you found value, please share it with someone else who needs to hear it. And if you haven't yet, please consider leaving the Massive Agent Podcast a review on Apple or Spotify. It helps the podcast get seen by more people. Reviews and ratings are the podcast platform's way of seeing engagement, right? They can obviously see who's listening, but when you take this extra step of leaving a review or a rating, it shows the platform, hey, this is good stuff. We should share it with new people that don't listen yet. And it helps us to grow the show so we can have a deeper, bigger impact on the real estate industry, which is something I'm passionate about. If you are an Apple listener, I made it super easy. Just go to massiveagentpodcast.com/review. And within a couple seconds, you could leave a rating. You take a few more seconds, type out some words, and leave us a review. Let us know what you like about the show. I would appreciate it so very much. And at the same time, you're helping me to reach a larger audience, which is good for the industry and good for me. Helping us on our quest to 1 million downloads, which it looks like we're going to hit sometime in December, unless we get some big spikes between now and then. If we just keep plugging along as we have been, we'll be hitting 1 million total downloads by December of this year, which is freaking mind-blowing. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for leaving a review. Thank you for everything. This podcast wouldn't exist without you. I don't know what else to say, but just thank you. You guys are awesome. Maybe I'll see you in Virginia Beach or Naples at BAM Camp or EXPCon in Vegas. Let me know if you're going to be there. Shoot me a DM at Massive Agent on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or everywhere else. Appreciate you so much. See you next week.